Pagkain sa bahay. Narito na ang sagot mga katropa. Ang super manok lechon. Napapawi sa inyong gutom at siguradong mapapa-analyze ka dahil sa tender juicy na jumbo pa at siguradong malinis at bagong katay buhat sa farm. Kaya super masalasa at pangmasa pa. Ano pa hinihintay niyo mga katropa? Takbo na sa Super Manok Panteño Siniluan at bumili na, baka maabusan ka, katropa.
Ngayon, just to continue, Mr. Clyde Teves, the person named in the search warrant, was not around during the implementation of the search.
Talakayin. Representative. Opinion. Palawakin. Aksyonan. Kasama sinusunod dito na sa Yung Millennial 9 TV.
Barangay, pangunahing unit ng pamahalang lokal kung saan dito pinag-uusapan ang bawat sinalot ng mga residente ng bawat barangay. Dito rin pinag-uusapan ng mga piling halal na opisyal na barangay ang mga proyekto para sa kanilang barangay. Kumustahin natin ang panunungkulan ni Kapitan dito sa Dama Barangay sa Millennial Online TV Worldwide, ang katropa ng bawat barangay.
Ating tinatapos ang ating pagpupulong. Maraming salamat po sa inyong pagdalo at tapos na po ang ating session. Enjoy na po tayo.
Hanap mo ba ay Unwind Ventures? Tara nang mamangha sa mga tanawin. Ano man ang iyong travel goals? Dadalhin namin kayo. Sa Unwind Ventures at saya. Dito lang sa Wow Biyahe. Kaya wow, di ba?
Abangan dito lang sa Millennial Online TV. Responsable ka bang gun owner? At mahaba ba ang iyong pasensya? At hindi ba intinang iyong ulo? Alam mo rin ba ang batas hinggil sa pag-iingat ng baril o firearms? Kung hindi,
A responsible gun owner.
Are you a responsible gun owner?
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 Are you a responsible gun owner? The PNP Civil Security Group would like to advise all firearms holders to renew their license to own and possess firearms and firearms registration within 6 months before its expiry date. Tumawag na at makipag-ugnayan.
Be a responsible gun owner.
One Gun Pilipinas ang sagot mga katropa at kagangers. Tayo ituturo sa inyo ng One Gun Pilipinas o OGP ang lahat ng legal na paraan at proseso upang ikaw ay maging isang responsableng gun owners. Ano pa hinihintay nyo mga ka-gunners? Sali na sa One Gun Pilipinas ngayon na! Responsable ka bang gun owner? At mahaba ba ang iyong pasensya? At hindi ba initin ang iyong ulo? Alam mo rin ba ang batas hinggil sa pag-iingat ng baril o firearms? Kung hindi,
a responsible gun owner.
Are you a responsible gun owner?
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 Are you a responsible gun owner? The PNP Civil Security Group would like to advise all firearms holders to renew their license to own and possess firearms and firearms registration within 6 months before its expiry date. Tumawag na at makipag-ugnayan.
Be a responsible gun owner.
One Gun Pilipinas ang sagot mga katropa at ka-gunners. Tayo ituturo sa inyo ng One Gun Pilipinas o OGP ang lahat ng legal na paraan at proseso upang ikaw ay maging isang responsableng gun owners. Ano pa hinihintay nyo mga ka-gunners? Sali na sa One Gun Pilipinas ngayon na! Responsable ka bang gun owner? At mahaba ba ang iyong pasensya? At hindi ba initin ang iyong ulo? Alam mo rin ba ang batas hinggil sa pag-iingat ng baril o firearms? Kung hindi,
a responsible gun owner.
Are you a responsible gun owner?
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 Are you a responsible gun owner? The PNP Civil Security Group would like to advise all firearms holders to renew their license to own and possess firearms and firearms registration within 6 months before its expiry date. Tumawag na at makipag-ugnayan.
Be a responsible gun owner.
One Gun Pilipinas ang sagot mga katropa at ka-gunners. Tayo ituturo sa inyo ng One Gun Pilipinas o OGP ang lahat ng legal na paraan at proseso upang ikaw ay maging isang responsableng gun owners. Ano pa hinihintay nyo mga ka-gunners? Sali na sa One Gun Pilipinas ngayon na! Responsable ka bang gun owner? At mahaba ba ang iyong pasensya? At hindi ba initin ang iyong ulo? Alam mo rin ba ang batas hinggil sa pag-iingat ng baril o firearms? Kung hindi,
a responsible gun owner.
Are you a responsible gun owner?
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 Are you a responsible gun owner? The PNP Civil Security Group would like to advise all firearms holders to renew their license to own and possess firearms and firearms registration within 6 months before its expiry date. Tumawag na at makipag-ugnayan.
Be a responsible gun.
Ang oras, alas 7:43 ng gabi, Philippine Standard Time. At sa inyo na po ang programang Tropa, Friday edition, siyempre dito lang sa Millennial Online TV, News and Updates. At siyempre ako pa rin yung magiging kasama, Rosel Lopez. At siyempre sa technical side, si Mr. J. Abay, magandang gabi po sa ating lahat, no? Sa ating mga netizens, sa ating mga Dabber Cats. At siyempre sa ating mga kuya, ating Bunsod Prince of Eagles, magandang gabi, no? Lalo na yung ating mga kuya na bagong induct, nitong nakaraan December 1. At magkakaroon na po kami kaagad ng first general monthly meeting sa December 15, Sunday po. Siyempre po, doon po kina Kuya A. At magandang gabi po sa atin. Nakita ko sa ating isang monitor, no, si Monton. Ayan, nice. Good evening, Sir Rosel. God bless you. Abay, God bless din sa'yo, brother. Magandang gabi rin sa'yo. Ayan, si Mr. Monton nanonood from Pasay City. At siyempre po yung ating mga kabarangay dyan, yung ating mga katropa, magandang gabi sa inyo. Lalo na yung ating mga barangay captain na talaga namang walang tigil sa paggawa ng public service sa kanilang mga constituents, sa kanilang mga barangay, no? Tuloy nyo lang yan, no? Dahil po yan para sa kabarangay nyo ang makikinabang. Kaya tuloy lang po, ika nga trabaho lang at iyan ay sinumpaan nyo. At siyempre po yung ating mga tumatakbong mga politiko ngayon, mga tumatakbong mayor, vice mayor, councilor, congressman, pagbutihin nyo. Kanya-kanyang estilo yan, kanya-kanyang mga pakulo. Huwag lang magkakaroon ng mga black propaganda. Wala lang siraan. Ika nga may the best man win. Huwag yung magsisira, no, na si ganito, na si ganyan. Alam nyo, sa tuwing mag-e-election, lagi sinasabi ng mga tumatakbo, baguhin natin. Kinakailangan mabago na. Laging ganun. Sino ba dapat ang umupo para mabago yung dapat baguhin? For example, merong mayor ngayon, tumakbo akong mayor. Sasabihin ko, dapat mabago na. Magbago na dapat. O di okay, nalalo ko. Ganun pa rin. Yung may tatakbo ulit sa susunod, yung makakalaban ko naman, hindi na sasabihin. So marami, no? Sino kaya ang dapat umupo na hindi na sasabihin ng taong bayan, na hindi na sasabihin ng mga makakalaban nila na may dapat pambaguhin sa kanilang nasasakupan? Laging ganun Lahat ng umuupo, yun ang sinasabi. No, nang tumatakbo, baguhin na natin, ganito dapat. Pag naupo na sila, ganun pa rin, may problema pa rin. So sino dapat ang umupo na sa tingin nyo, wala na magiging problema, no? Ay, naku. Lahat naman yan halimbawa, ikaw si Kapitan ganito, nakaupo ngayon, si Kapitan A. Ngayon, nagkaroon na ng barangay elections, natalo si Kapitan A, ni Kapitan B ang umupo. Ganun pa rin, may problema pa rin. So, ano ang dapat gawin ba? Sino ba ang dapat umupo para wala nang maging say yung mga ibang politiko dyan at mga constituent na may dapat baguhin sa barangay? Naniniwala naman tayo na meron talagang mga nakupong politiko na positional lang, not functional. So dapat kasi pagka ikaw umupo sa ganyan larangan, dapat functional ka, hindi lamang positional, di ba? So ibig sabihin nun, sweldo ka lang na sweldo pero hindi mo ginagawa yung pagiging ama mo ng barangay o ama ng barangay o ama ng bayan, ng city. Yan ang sinasabi natin. Okay, pero mga kaibigan, tulad na sinabi natin sa inyo, ngayon ay ito yung mga panahon, ika nga nasa millennial stage tayo, na dapat nalalaman na ng taong bayan. Actually, nalalaman na yung mga ginagawa ng ating mambabatas, no? Ano ang kanilang hinahaing batas, mga panukalang batas, ano na ang kanilang mga ginawa sa kanilang pwesto, no? Nalalaman na natin ngayon, hindi katulad po nung araw na wala pong alam ang ating mga kababayan, no? Tayo, ako mismo, no? Tayong mga nasa media, hindi natin alam kung ano ang ginagawa ng ating mga katropa dyan. Kaya dapat po ngayon aware na, no, ang ating mga kababayan. Matatalino na kasi millennial na no, nalalaman din nila yung mga nangyayari sa ating bansa, yung mga ginagawa natin mga nakaupong politiko, yung mga mababatas. So, sa susunod, alam nila kung sino ang dapat nilang iboto, no, sa ganung posisyon. At yun, siyempre magandang gabi rin sa ating mga kaganers, no, ng One Gun Pilipinas, partikular sa aming pong presidente na si Asher Manghinang, at siyempre si Admin Corixman, at siyempre ganoon din si Tads Daily, no, yung ating OGP dyan po sa US. No, magandang gabi sa inyo. Okay, so mga kaibigan, huwag na natin patagalin siyempre. Tunghayan na natin, panoorin natin at pakinggan ang ginawang press briefing sa Senado. No, at kasunod yan, yung Senate hearing. Alamin natin ano ba yun, tungkol saan. Para alam nyo, no, para aware kayo, etc. whatsoever. No? Okay, sa mga kaibigan, huwag natin patagalin at itungay na natin yung ginawang press briefing dyan sa Senado. Narito po.
Good morning to all our media friends once again, and to our honorable congressmen, Kong Roach and Kong Joel. I'm Director Jun, pinch hitting for Ryan kasi may biglaan. Nasa bycam yata sila. So let's get rolling. Pwede na tayong magtanong. The first question will be from Sandro Bilyonaryo.
Ano po yung final natin this morning, tsaka ano po yung particulars?
Dalawa po yung final natin this morning. Yung isa po yung House Bill number 11192. Ang title po nito, an act regulating the allocation and utilization of confidential and intelligence funds, imposing penalties for misuse and misappropriation. Yung isa naman po ay House Bill number 11193. Ang title naman po nito, an act regulating special disbursing officers and imposing penalties for misuse and misappropriation of funds.
So ano po yung specific na laman? May parusa po ba? Ano po yung mga parusa na nakalagay dun sa proposed bill?
May mga parusa. Bukod siyempre sa mga admin tsaka mga criminal liability, nilalagay din dito na pag ikaw ay mapatunayan na nag-violate dito sa mga batas na to, magkakaroon ka ng perpetual disqualification to hold public office.
For both bills yun?
Apo. Yung isa, yung sa... Pero siyempre lahat naman ng mga to dadaan pa to sa committee. May mga... sa Section 10, dito sa SDO, specifically Section 10, penalties, without prejudice to the filing of criminal, civil, and administrative cases, the penalty of perpetual disqualification from office shall be imposed upon the SDO for violation of any of the provision of this Act, including loss of benefits.
And all of these stemmed from...
Dito po sa ating committee hearing. Dito po kasi, originally, pag SDO ka, ang sa ngayon basta't ikaw ay in-appoint lang ng head of agency, pwede ka na maging SDO. So dito po sa ating bagong batas na ipinasa, may mga qualification na po kami na isinaad. Number 1, kailangan siyempre, bukod sa kailangan ikaw ay permanent official or employee of the agency. At ikaw ay kailangan may salary grade 24. Tapos kailangan meron kang educational background na related sa accounting, auditing, or finance. At dapat yung approved fidelity band mo kailangan equivalent sa iyong accountability.
Our next question will be from Marian.
Okay. Sir, dun sa So, tinatapos na nga po natin. Kumbaga, isasantabi natin yung confidential funds, yung probe natin ng good government dito. And si Vice President Sara Duterte, meron din po siyang statement. Sinabi niya na with that nga po, at least kahit paano, matatapos na rin yung tinatawag niya na may relief daw po bala sa mga personnel ng OVP and sa Department of Education dahil natapos ng hearing. Kasi nung mga nakaraang linggo daw, talaga nababalisa, anxious daw sila, tormented. Takot daw sila sa buhay nila and that's why buti naman ngayon. And with the impeachment nga po, no, na isasalang na, at least doon daw po masasagot niya yung mga dapat sagutin, lalo na may proseso daw ng batas. So, sir, ano po masasabi niyo? Mas mabuti raw na mayroon ng impeachment dahil doon sa impeachment ako lang yung habol ng mga members of the House of Representatives. Hindi na nila tiniterrorize yung mga kasamahan ko sa Office of the Vice President. Would you like to comment on that? Na, yun nga, with your pag-summarize or pagtapos po nito ng confidential fund probe ng good government. And sabi niyo po, tatalakayin niya na rin sa impeachment proceedings, kumbaga, kung magtutuloy po sa Committee on Justice itong confidential fund probe.
Well, syempre, nare-respeto naman natin ang opinion ng ating Vice President. At kung sakasakali nga po na ito'y talakayin ng impeachment ng ating Vice President, yung mga bagay-bagay, no, yung mga ibang issue, siguro mas fully masasagot dun sa Committee on Justice.
In addition lang po siguro, just to comment, I'm not sure if necessarily interrelated naman po sila Kasi yung proceedings dito sa briefing, not really briefing, proceedings po natin dito sa good government in aid of legislation, iba naman po yung tutukan po natin as compared to impeachment. So I don't know, I don't necessarily agree, although we respect the opinion, of course, that's the good Vice President's opinion. Pero for her to say na mas okay nang, I think that's the gist of it po, Marian, no? Tama. Na sinasabi niya, buti lang natapos na itong good gov para makaproceed na sa impeachment. One, the impeachment proceedings is separate. Two, we don't even know if it's going to proceed because as far as we know, there were only 2 filings as of late. And we're unsure yet of how that's going to proceed po, no? If it's going to really afford her that, sabi niya po, she wants to she's willing to have face-to-face. But when it comes to the impeachment complaint po, that's a separate matter. It's different from this. So we're not sure also kung the articles of impeachment itself would include this. So it really depends po on yung basis doon. So yung point lang being, parang these are 2 separate matters and I'm not sure if it really follows po, no?
Sir, I understand meron na rin pong parang nilalobby yung Makabayan Bloc or may nagpapapirma po nga nitong para sa, one-third resolution na po ng impeachment case at didiretso na sa plenaryo. Kayo po ba willing kayo? Are you in favor po para pumirma dito sa impeachment resolution?
Well, honestly, hindi ko pa nababasa yung laman ng impeachment complaint ng Makabayan Bloc. So, in the event na ibigay po sa amin to, pag-aaralan po muna namin kung ano yung laman nito.
In my case po, personally, di pa po lumalapit yung Makabayan. I haven't seen yet yung impeachment complaint po nila. So, we can't really comment yet, having not seen the articles po. If I understand, Makabayan is only 1 article of impeachment. Tama po ba? And that's very different because I understand, comparing lang to the other impeachment, there were 3 articles, 24 grounds. So, you have to consider in po all of that in totality before choosing which one to support po siguro.
Sorry. Follow-up lang, sorry, second to the last question. Sir, you mentioned po, Chairman Chua, several times na kulang po tayo sa oras. Tingin nyo, wala na pong panahon dahil nga magkakampanya na eleksyon. Do you think po it's better that this will be tackled, itong impeachment complaint, sa 20th Congress rather than sa 19th Congress?
Ano po? Pakiulit.
Sabi niyo po, wala nang panahon. Pinaka-challenge po, for example, para isulong nga po ang impeachment complaint kay VP Sara is yung time. Wala pong oras pa dahil magkakaroon na ng eleksyon, may kampanya, magiging busy, lalo na po kayong mga congressmen and senators. Kung sakaling umabot na nga po doon sa Senado yung bilang trial court, at ano po ba sa tingin ninyo? Better ba kung sa 20th Congress, tingin niyo po ba isa lang ang impeachment kesa sa 19th Congress?
Well, yung Senate kasi is a continuing body. Hindi naman yan matatapos, meron pa rin naman 12 senador. Yung comment ko po ay personal opinion ko lamang yun at hindi po yun ang opinion ng lahat. So, sinasabi ko lang yun dahil by February, alam naman natin, national campaign na, and by March, local campaign. Although, syempre, ang trabaho naman namin, ang mandato po namin is hanggang end ng June. So, in the event naman na itong impeachment talaga ay umusad, syempre, may obligasyon din naman kami na ito ay gampanan.
We recognize Vic Sumintak, Net 25.
Congressman Chua, sir, good morning. Sir, now that the House Committee on Good Government and Public Accountability is eyeing for a legislation requiring confidential and intelligence fund disclosure and penalties for misuse of that fund, may we know kung ano magiging hakbang ng Congress now that the Commission on Audit, naglabas sila ng report na yung Office of the President ay top spender ng 2023 confidential and intelligence fund, pati yun ba ay bubusisiin din ng Kongreso kung paano ginastos?
Well, yung sa Office of the President is a different matter dahil yun may trabaho at may obligasyon ang ating Presidente bilang Commander-in-Chief ng sandatahan ng ating bansa at ang kanya po ay it concerns national security. Ito pong ipinapasa po namin ay paglilimita sa mga ahensya na wala pong kinalaman sa national security, sa peace and order at intelligence gathering. Kami po kasi confined, itong investigasyon namin is confined doon sa privilege speech ni Congressman Valeriano at saka ni Congresswoman Luistro.
In addition to that lang po, no, and just to be clear, 2 points make it different po. No? First and foremost, nabanggit po ni Chairman Chua, is that in relation to yung good gov, we were talking about confidential funds by civilian agencies that are not necessarily related initially. And whether or not this piece of legislation was passed, we are going to act on that. If someone filed a privileged speech or a resolution, if there were any regarding doon naman sa President, if ever it was found to be used in matters not related to their functions, then I think the committee would also take that matter up po. No? But the difference is it did not happen po. Dito, confidential funds of a civilian agency. So, President, very clear po. In fact, if I understand po, sir, no, the COA, can you give us yung value po, sir, yung sa COA? Ano po yung nabanggit? For 2023 po ito, no?
For 2023, the Office of the President under President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. is the top confidential and intelligence fund spender for 2023 with a combine of 4.56 billion based on the report of COA Annual Financial Report.
Confidential and intelligence funds po, no? We have to take note, yung sa good government, what we were talking about is confidential funds of a civilian agency. Intelligence funds po, which are related to national security concerns as disbursed by the necessary security agency. Iba naman po yun. And I think the bulk of my understanding of the news was correct. Yung sa 4-point-something, majority of that was intelligence funds naman po talaga. So that's the first po na, the distinction between confidential and intelligence funds, between civilian and security agency. Second matter po na yung pagkakaiba nito, we will take note, wala pong notice of disallowance. There was no notice of disallowance in the OP, and that's why no one has filed any privileged speech or resolution. Dito po sa OVP, nagkaroon po ng notice of disallowance. So that's one difference po siguro. And in fact, one of the provisions in the new piece of legislation is that the notice of disallowance would open up yung COA declassification. So I think those are the two kinds of distinctions. But in summary po, if ever there was a complaint, I believe the committee will hear it. But given po na one, it's not really, that was intelligence and not confidential, and two, wala namang notice of disallowance, I think we'd understand kung bakit wala po actually in the complaint.
Okay. Sir, one last na lang go. On the impeachment issue, sir, as you have mentioned, na kung sakaling dito sa House, lumusot yung impeachment, pupunta ng Senado, yung panahon ang problema. Pero probably, sabi nyo nga kung Chua, continuing body ang Senate kasi may matitirang 12. Pero ang problema doon, di ba sir, based on the rules of impeachment, does not constitute a yung required numbers that is 2/3 to convict the impeachable official. Then what will happen to the impeachment case if ever makarating ng Senado?
Well, unang-una, yung gagraduate po ay may mandato pa sila hanggang June, end of June. Hindi pa naman sila, ibig sabihin, hindi naman porke nagsimula ang kampanya, ibig sabihin ay hindi na po nila dapat kampanan ang kanilang trabaho. So kung ito po ay sumampa, whether may kampanya o wala, talagang siyempre bilang mga lingkod bayan, obligado rin po sila na gampanan ang kanilang trabaho.
We recognize Ms. Vivian, then followed by Ms. Mela.
Sir, bale, 1 week na lang before yung mag-break, yung Congress. So, napag-usapan na po ba sa majority yung impeachment with this time left before mag-break?
So far, wala pa naman po.
And then, would you have information po kung na-transmit na sa Office of the Speaker yung 2 impeachment complaints filed so far?
Sorry, wala rin po akong idea.
Your reaction na hindi pa po natatransmit? I mean, if at this time hindi pa natatransmit?
I believe ito po yung what we discussed in the previous press con question of yung 10 days. Is it necessary that it has to be transmitted immediately within the 10 days or do they really wait until the end? But given that the 10 days has not lapsed, we can't see any issues yet po, no? So we'll have to wait and see po with the Office of the Secretary General.
And then sir, dito lang sa mga final po ninyo na bills so far, ano po yung mga nakita ninyo that prompted the filing? For example, yun po bang current SDOs, wala yung mga background na nabanggit po ninyo, etc.?
Wala Ang sa SDO ngayon, basta't ikaw ay pinili ng head of agency, SDO ka na. Kaya nga medyo hinigpitan po natin dahil nakita po natin. At saka dito po, clearly, nilagay rin po namin na hindi mo po pwedeng i-delegate yung iyong trabaho bilang SDO.
Ano yung danger nun, sir? Pag in-appoint ka lang, hindi ka permanent employee na SDO?
Siyempre, kaya po namin na binigyan ng mabigat na para maiwasan yung pagkukuntsabahan ng head of agency at saka ng SDO.
In addition lang po, no? So generally, it's hard to summarize po, Vivian, sorry, kung what prompted us to file this legislation. But in relation to your question, the SDO, regarding appointments in confidence, mahirap rin po because the necessary nature of confidential funds, given that they're given, there's more impunity in relation to its spending, there's more discretion, and it's under less scrutiny, apparently. That's what we've seen in the Good Government Committee. When you have familiarity between the head of agency and then the appointed person of trust, it would breed some sort, not really breed, but what we would see is it could be a possible avenue for collusion. So that's why one of the things that was pointed out in the new piece of legislation is that it should be a professional, permanent office already. So once we've determined, first and foremost, whether an agency will require confidential or intelligence funds, then they would also need a permanent position which will not change from administration to administration. So less likely na po yung chances of collusion. In line with that, kasama na rin po doon yung dangers of further delegation. Mawawala rin yung point nung measures na anti-collusion if you will still allow the SDO to further delegate to other persons. In fact, our understanding of the joint circular was that bawal na po diba, kung SDO po ako, bawal na po yan i-delegate. But given that we've seen that that is the practice, we felt that it is needed to necessarily spell it out in the law. So yun po yung ginawa po natin here, amongst other things po.
Okay. Dito lang sir sa yung isa nyo pang bill, yung imposing penalties for misappropriation of confidential funds. Wala pa po bang current laws punishing yung misappropriation, misuse of confidential funds?
Actually, pag titignan mo kasi maraming po pwedeng maging punishment. Nandiyan yung pag malaki yung amount, more than 50 plunder, so may mga so forth and so on, di ba? So ito naman po is in addition doon sa mga po pwedeng isampa.
We have to take note po yung legislation natin. As you mentioned, ito na po yung sinasabi natin, in aid of legislation. We already have criminal laws. In fact, some of the words that have been thrown around were technical malversation, perjury, falsification, plunder, all of those put together. We already have the crimes to penalize. The problem is, we can't really pinpoint the liability. Kasi nga po, for example, ang sinasabi nila bilang SDO, I'm not liable kasi pinasa ko sa iba. Although alam natin there would be malversation, the question is, tama po ba yung pagpasa niya? Because that would define the procedure. Kung well and good, if they say, if the finding is allowed naman under the joint circular yung pagpasa nung disbursement to a different officer, then baliwala yung mga current criminal laws po natin. But if now we have this law that says bawal na po mag-delegate further, the mere fact of delegating would now open them up to yung technical malversation na sinasabi natin and other criminal laws that we already have in place.
Got it. Thank you.
Miss Mela?
Hi, sir. Good morning po. Kong Chua and Kong Roj, balikan ko lang po yung statement natin, yung press release natin kahapon kasi nabanggit nga po na may pinapacheck na tayong 1,992 names allegedly not tied to allegedly OVP secret fund anomaly. Tanong ko lang po sana kung may update na sa PSA about this big numbers ng pinapa-verify natin and kung sakali mang may resulta na, paano po ito makakaapekto sa ating findings gayong tama po ba, di ba tinapos na natin yung about sa confidential funds?
Well, unang-una, inaantay pa namin yung resulta sa PSA. Pangalawa, wala pa naman po kaming committee report na ginagawa. So, kung ano man yung magiging resulta ng findings, makakaasa kayo na isasama po namin yan sa committee report.
So ngayong taon, sir, wala nang hearing, tama po ba? Ang good government?
Wala nang hearing. This year, wala.
Next year?
Well, kagaya po ng sinasabi namin, sinuspend lang naman namin, hindi pa naman namin tineterminate eh. So,
open pa rin
open pa rin.
ma-discuss?
Yes.
Opo. Sorry, may isang question lang po, other topic. Kay Kong Roj, kahapon po kasi sa plenary, inaprubahan na ng Kamara sa ikatlo at huling pagbasa itong House Bill number 1113, rationalizing the safety measures and penalties relative to the operation of motorcycles. Kayo po as a One Rider Party List, ano pong masasabi nyo rito? And can you just give us parang short ano po bang ano nito, yung bill na to, short na description?
Sorry, Chair Joel, parochial concerns. Yung concern po natin dun sa House Bill 11113, this is amendments to the Motorcycle Crime Prevention Act. It's sort of a mixed bag po, no? Kasi we've been active in the committee naman po. We have to take note, first and foremost, this is a bill filed by Congressman Fortes and Congressman Baronda. And this is a counterpart bill already to the Senate version. On the one hand, it lowers the penalties, and we applaud that. It lowers the penalties that were already in place ng Motorcycle Crime Prevention Act. We always said excessive po yung dati. Minsan 50,000 yung penalty, 100,000 for simple failure to report yung transfer of motorcycle or failure to attach the plate, which sometimes there's confusion kasi hindi naman kasalanan ng motorista na walang plaka. Nasa LTO yung problema. Time and time again, every year sa budget, kine-question po namin asa ng plaka because it is related. Kung walang plaka, minsan hinuhuli pa sila. And the hard thing is, yung motorist pa yung dapat mag-explain or mag-prove na may problema yung LTO. So these are you can see how controversial yung bill is. So on the one hand, step in the right direction po sana yung House Bill 11113 in the sense na it lowers the penalties. Pero kami po sa committee, we've been constantly arguing na dapat gawing patas po ito. Yes, nabungaba yung penalty. Yes, lesser na yung time nung imprisonment if ever there were some. Yes, they did some changes. Wala na yung second plate. Pero kulang pa po sa amin. Bakit po? Kasi may distinction pa rin yung motorsiklo at yung four wheels. Bakit po pag driving without a plate o motorsiklo, magkakaroon pa ng penalty of 5,000 plus imprisonment for 6 months or 6 years ba yun? Pero pag four wheels, wala. Kapag we are talking of using of a stolen plate, sa motorcycle may penalty, sa motor vehicle, sa four wheels wala. That's why we were very constant nung sa committee level sa transportation na dapat gawing Motor Vehicle Crime Prevention Act. However, we understand that the primary authors, given the pressure that this is already a counterpart bill of the Senate, they wanted to pass it as is. Internally, what we talked about is ayusin na lang sa BICAM. So we naman let it be, no, but we acquiesced. We agreed to that. So yun. So for now, we voted yes, but with that colatilia that we still have, it has further work needed to be done.
Thank you po.
Thank you.
We recognize Ms. Rosalie of UNTV and will be followed by Earl of IBC.
Good afternoon po, Kongs. Regarding po sa filed measures nyo po today, meron po ba dong explicit na nakalagay kung paano nyo po gustong i-revise yung joint circular ng COA and DBM regarding sa confidential funds? And are you requesting or directing them to revise it as soon as possible?
Well, basically, yung sa joint circular, dapat yan resolution lamang. Pero pinag-uusapan kasi namin kung gagawin namin itong batas na. Kasi dun sa joint circular, ito'y pinagsama-sama lamang ng mga guidelines ng COA, ng Defense, ng DILG, mga ahensya. Pero pinafinalize pa namin kung ito'y gagawin namin talagang batas na nang sa ganun mas tumibay itong joint circular. But of course, we will have to consult also with the concerned departments.
So sir, hindi pa to kasama dun sa filed measures nyo po today?
Hindi pa.
Okay po. Second question ko po kasi na-mention din po kanina ni Kong Rog, wala naman pong anything na complaint against the use of confidential funds ng Office of the President. Kaya po wala namang nag-iimbestiga tungkol doon. Pero gusto ko lang pong linawin kung yung filed measures nyo po, covered po ba nito lahat po ng national and local agencies na may appropriation ng confidential funds? Lahat, but not the Office of the President?
The legislation considers lahat po. So if my understanding is right, in line with what we will be filing, of course, every year yung budget tayo po yun pumapa sa Congress with the power of the purse. In line with that, with the further guidance, if this will be passed into law, the legislation will take over all. So we are, in fact, we are expecting that we will have more scrutiny, including dun sa OP. Kasi nga po, we have now yung provisions in the law which would include yung declassification if may notice of disallowance. The difference nga being is that we mentioned, as far as we're concerned, this is the first time nagkaroon ng notice of disallowance in confidential funds. So that's why nag-target po, nag-zero in po talaga dun sa disbursement ng OVP and the related agency at the time, DepEd. But we're expecting po that this would widen the scope of scrutiny of the ICFAO, yung Special Audit Unit ng COA.
Okay po. Question ko na rin po kay Kong Rog kung ilan po ba yung members ng minority bloc sa Congress. Do you have any idea?
If my last count is right, I think there are 23 of us in the minority bloc.
Kasi in relation to that po, kanina kasi nabanggit ni Kong Castro na may mga minority members na po nagpahayag ng suporta doon sa impeachment complaint niya. Are you bent to support once na-verify nyo po at nabasa yung complaint nila?
Well, I would have to see, as you mentioned, the art of impeachment. But for me personally, I have seen some offenses or some basis for the ground. So I have my own idea of what should be in a complaint if a file po, no? But given that I haven't seen yet, although they have explained to me in an informal manner, I still have to see po yung complaint before I can really throw my support behind any impeachment complaint po.
Alright, kung sa majority block hindi pa napag-uusapan yung about sa impeachment, sa minority block napag-uusapan?
Napag-uusapan po to in the sense na it's news already, may nag-file, we're talking about ano kaya mangyayari dito, but it's not a concerted effort po, no? There is no one movement by the minority block to file an impeachment complaint if yun po yung tanong eh. But given that members of the minority bloc, that being yung Makabayan bloc po natin, mga kasamahan natin, sina Kong, Brosas, Castro, and Manuel, given that they've already filed a complaint, they've been going around po and asking us for support. So in a sense, we have talked about the merits, but nothing yet that's formal in the sense na gumagalaw as one minority po.
Thank you po.
Kongs, good afternoon po. On related topic lang, sir, Vice President Sara Duterte still refused to appear before NBI despite ng kanyang pangalawang subpoena na nag-ugat nga doon sa death threats na in-announce niya sa kasagsagan ng commotion with Attorney Zulaika. Any reaction lang po on this?
I think it's just it's unfortunate, although we respect siguro the decision of the OVP. If yung opinion nila, I think the opinion was that they would rather just submit a subpoena because based on her lawyer's advice, sorry, not subpoena, based on the lawyer's advice, they can just file a counter affidavit. However, kami were of the position that the Vice President should take every avenue to clear their name, to clear the office's name, to clear her name, and that in fact, to the extent that under Chairman Joel, we suspended one of our good government hearings so that she could attend. So you can see very clearly where we stand. We're here for her to be able to, we wanted to afford her the opportunity to answer po the allegations, even from other government bodies. But given that hindi she's not doing, it's unfortunate. And we repeat our, yung panawagan po namin that we hope that she participates not only with the NBI, with all, I understand marami na pong mga nasampang kaso. I hope she participates with all the agencies as far as the rule of law is concerned po.
Thank you po.
Other questions? Dexter, Chino? Kung wala na po...
Sir, wait lang.
Sorry.
Sorry. Hindi, kasi meron pa po palang statement si VP Sara regarding po Sir Chairman Chua dun sa 405 na sinabi, reported by PSA na no birth records from the 677 na una po natin sinabi. Sabi niya, dapat malaman nila kung paano ginagawang intelligence operations bago magsalita ang mga tao with regard to the mga documents about confidential funds. Kasi hindi ganyan kadali magsabi ka lang na walang nag-i-exist na mga tao na ganito.
Well, hindi naman po kami ang nagsasabi na ito hindi nag-i-exist, kundi binibase lang po namin sa record na binigay sa amin ng PSA. So, based sa record ng PSA, walang mga pinanganak or na ganito yung mga pangalan. Around 405 kung hindi po ako nagkakamali. And the rest po ay maraming kapangalan.
In addition to that po, Marian, the issue, I think, isn't only in how intelligence and confidential funds are spent, is kung paano ginagawa yung intelligence operations. Okay, for one, yung sinasabi po ng VP na dapat alamin po namin kung paano ginagawa yung intelligence operations. Kaya nga po kami nag-hearing eh. We had this hearing to find out how it was dispersed, and necessarily with the dispersal comes how the intelligence operation, how it operates. Of course, it's confidential, so we understand that there will be some distinction, but at least give us the reason why we would know or need to know paano po, they would use that receipts, yung mga pseudonym if needed. But that's first po, But with that aside, clear naman po yung sinabi ng COA. As far as they're concerned, hindi naman po ito, I think it was Congressman Adyong who was questioning that. Hindi naman to basis to use pseudonyms. Clear in the circular, part of it is supposed to be documentary evidence of payment itong mga ARs. Dapat accurate po siya, precisely for accountability purposes. Whether or not that's how the intelligence operation operates, it still needs to, based on our circulars and based on the proceedings, it still needs the necessary documentary evidence of payment. So that's how an intelligence operation operates is separate from the accountability that follows. So I think that's the issue there, why we're looking so much into yung mga ARs po,
In addition to that, kung babasahin natin yung joint circular, may mga parameters dito na nilagay to protect the identity of the beneficiaries, Yung mga may issue ng acknowledgement receipt. Isa nga po dito, nakalagay dapat, dun sa envelope, it should be sealed. Tapos may nakalagay sa likod na confidential, at itong sealed envelope, dapat ilalagay ito sa vault. So kung ang mga ilalagay naman dito, puro mga nickname, mga pseudonym, bakit pa ito lalagyan ng ganito kahigpit na safety precaution? Otherwise, kung po pwede naman pala mga ganon, di po pwede namang ilagay na lang natin dito sa harapan natin, kahit kanino nababasa. Total, hindi naman malalaman kung kaninong identity yan.
In addition po, there's one more thing. If we're zooming into the ARs, we see yung problem po na sinasabi na fictitious names or pseudonyms or code names or ano man yan. How can you determine that if di nyo alam kung paano nag-operate yung intelligence operations? But if we take a step back and look at the bigger picture confidential funds, one of the issues is mali-mali nga po yung categorization ng disbursement nila eh. it's not just payment of rewards. There was payment of medicine. There was payment of food, which were not allowed under the circular. So I think, and some of the ARs were used for those purposes. So regardless of whether we understand or we know necessarily how the intelligence agency or the intelligence operation is operated, the mere fact na mali po yung categories means mali po talaga yung disbursement. So talaga we really have to look into every piece of AR and their accuracy to really determine po yung liabilities of the officers involved. Yun po.
Sir, sorry, follow-up.
Kung tama yung kanilang paggamit ng confidential fund, di sana hindi sila na-issuean ng notice of disallowance.
We recognize.
Sorry, sir, follow-up lang doon. Doon po ba sa bill na final natin, dinitalya rin po ba natin kung paano ito, doon lalo sa pag-act regulating the allocation utilization of confidential funds?
Actually, ang plano kasi namin talaga na hindi pa namin ma-finalize is yung sa joint circular. Kasi nasa joint circular talaga yung parameters kung paano gagamitin ito eh. So hindi namin ma-finalize pa kung ito ay isasabatas na lang namin or gagawa kami ng resolution para amyendahan ng mga concerned agencies itong joint circular.
I think also in addition, it's out of respect rin kasi executive agency, although they definitely, I'm sure, they've always expressed their willingness to cooperate and they will hear us out if we have comments. We can't really dictate ano pong mangyayari sa joint circular. It will only be a recommendation on our end. We have to have consultative meetings, and then it's not even final on our part kasi they can only take our word as advice lang po on how to go about it. But given our oversight functions and power of the purse, I think that's where the committee is headed now. They took a distinct direction in which may capacity po talaga yung Congress, which is to legislate laws. And doon po nagagaling yung House Bill, I forget, it's 11192. Yeah, yun po.
And siguro, in the next scheduled hearing, baka ito rin muna yung i-prioritize namin. Papatawag namin yung mga signatories na itong joint circular, and then we will consult them kung ano ba sa tingin nila ang necessary. Dahil since sila yung gumawa nito, so siyempre, mas maganda naman na makonsulto rin sila out of respect dito sa mga ahensya at mga departamento.
Last question will be from Chino Gaston of GMA.
Morning, sir. Totally unrelated. Sa confidential funds. Morning. Sir, there was a resolution filed by the Makabayan Bloc early this morning urging the government for, to ask the President for clemency para kay Mary Jane Veloso. Will it find support sa mga congressman na pagdating dito, Mary Jane Veloso, yung OFW nire-repatriate, so parang ano lang kasi exchange of custody lang yun para mabalik lang dito. They're asking for clemency. Would that be in the realm of down your alley to give support para mabigyan ng clemency? Yeah. So, clemency kasi, sir, is granted by the President, diba? So, yes. Yeah. So, may nag-file ng resolution lang. From my understanding, it's to ask the government to grant the clemency when she's effectively repatriated.
Initially po, first and foremost, yung clemency is an executive act. So, understandably, I don't think a lot of congressmen would be willing to meddle po into that. But given that, this is a high-profile case, it really would depend. First and foremost, though, just to clarify po, what's going to happen is there are positive developments that Mary Jane Veloso will be repatriated. That means we're done with the worst case, which was the death penalty po. Since wala naman pong death penalty, we can have a sigh of relief na she will not be, she will not suffer the capital punishment. With that said, clemency is a rather touchy issue because I believe we haven't seen it yet. This was probably tried in Indonesia. We don't know the proceedings, but there is an allegation she was found guilty. There is still criminal liability. So if that criminal liability will translate into prison time here in the Philippines, that's a separate issue. And I think that's what the issue of clemency is. So, sorry, I just went about by explaining po no. But I had to explain that so that we'd understand that the worst is over. Capital punishment will not be dealt. But she's going to be back home where she'll be tried by our laws, by Filipino judges, by the Filipino people. The question now of extending clemency just because it was from a case abroad, I think that's another issue. And personally, I think it's a touchy subject po, no? I don't think we should send the message that we condone criminal acts that are done abroad. Definitely, we're against the death penalty, and that's why we really had to work for her repatriation. But if ever she is found guilty, and that would merit clemency, I think that's a different matter altogether po, no?
Kasi it might send the wrong signals if to give a blanket clemency to all OFWs who are found guilty abroad. Would that be an accurate assessment of what you're saying na pag ganun lang?
In my own personal capacity, this representation po, I think that's what I'm trying to say. However, I have to see the resolution pa po, no? I'm not sure if there are other meritorious arguments for clemency. Maybe I could see one thing possibly is that she has already served her time. That might be one aspect to it. So we have to see first and foremost if she will be considered guilty under our laws, and second, if the time she served abroad would be sufficient to cover that. If that is the case po, if that is where the resolution is coming from, then I could see siguro po more support coming from this House.
Sir, may pahabol si Vivian.
Sorry sir, 2 questions na lang kasi follow up lang dun sa question ni Earl kanina. Dun daw sa letter ni VP submitted to the NBI, she denied making threats against President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., First Lady Liza Marcos, and House Speaker Martin Romuald. Hello, can you hear me po? Opo, yung denial lang po, dun sa letter, dinideny ni VP na meron siyang threats na ginawa against the President, the House Speaker, and the First Lady. Yun po yung first question. And then second question on kay Kong Gutierrez. You mentioned earlier yung timeline provides for the impeachment naman, yung 10 days. But actually, the House rules state that if a verified complaint for impeachment by a member of the House or by any citizen upon a resolution or endorsement by any member thereof shall be filed with the Office of the Secretary General and immediately referred to the Speaker, and then the Speaker shall now have 10 days to put it in the order of business. So, yun. Your comments po. Denial ni VP Sara and then yung immediate transmission dapat.
Well, siyempre, that is part of her defense. So, alam naman natin sa law, denial is the weakest defense. Diba? So, anyway, siyempre, hindi ko rin naman alam kung ano pa yung ibang mga nilagay po niya dyan. But siguro, lahat naman po tayo napanood natin yung kanyang statement na mga sinabi. So, that is for the NBI to determine kung ano yung appreciation nila dun sa statement na sinabi at saka dun sa sagot ni VP Sara.
On the second question po, then I guess be that as it may, I don't think it changes po the answer to the previous question. We still have not heard of the fact of whether it was transmitted to the Office Speaker. And it still doesn't change po, no? As far as the members are concerned, the way that we would see that, at least aside from yung 1/3 filing po, no? If we're talking about the current filing for the 2, the next step that would be tangible for us to understand that it's moving is yung referral to the Justice Committee. So it would still have that 10-day notice to act, the 10-day period to act on. So I think yun po yung basis na the congressman would say, wala pa pong nangyayari kasi wala pa po kaming nakikita. But yung as for the internal po with the immediate transmittal of the Office of the Secretary General to the Office of the Speaker, I think that would be best answered by the Office of the Secretary General.
Sir, wait lang, sorry. VP Sara has a statement po. Meron po siyang mensahe for this Christmas. Sabi niya, 3 lang po ang kailangan natin gawin: forgiving, giving, and loving. Yan lang po ang essence ng Pasko. Kayo po, any Christmas message po?
On my part po, siguro next week, may trabaho pa kami till next week. Di ko pa na-feel yung Christmas. So by then, I'll probably be ready with a statement for you.
Before we end, let's give the floor to our 2 good congressmen for their closing remarks. Wala na. Wala na daw po. Maraming salamat.
Thank you po.
GCG opinion, pwede pa rin naman makapagbenta sa private yung aging na yon. But yun nga, ayoko na lang magsalita in terms of mali ba yun o tama yun kasi nasa ombudsman na po ito. So
Mr. Chair, nung unang panahon, nung wala pa yung Senate version na ipinasok na tinanggalan ng poder na makaapekto sa presyo ang NFA, nung wala pa yun, paano po nangyayari ang pagbibenta ng bigas ng NFA to the retailers?
Ganito po, Mr. Chair. Ang NFA ho, bago mag-RTL, can freely enter the market even without calamities and emergencies. That's why po noon, meron kami mga grains retailers na registered sa amin at may mga plaka sa palengke, makikita niyo NFA,
yes, we
dash
remember
number.
that.
Ano po yan? Wala pong kondisyon na nagsasabi na pwede kami magbenta lang during calamities and emergencies.
Yes,
we
pero
can freely...
paano yon? Yung pricing, let's say may bidding ba, or if they're accredited retailers, they can get, or may quantity ba? I'm trying to differentiate that. Ano yung difference niyan as compared to the negotiated transactions of NFA with the millers way back in 2023 and 2024?
As far as I can understand through my reading and sa mga tao, dahil kasama talaga yung market intervention kay NFA noon. So lahat ng mga makakapasa katulad ng ginagawa ng BPI and other regulatory agencies, makakapasa na retailer, mare-register sa amin. And they are given certain volume na pwedeng bilhin diretso sa aming mga warehouses.
Ibibenta nila.
And bibenta
How
nila.
much is the maximum and the minimum volume? Maski sa maximum na lang tayo.
Hindi ko ho kabisado yung maximum.
Can you look at that?
Titignan po
Pero
namin
sa pananaw
yung
nyo ba,
volume.
Mr. Chair, Admin Lacson, sa pananaw nyo ba, malalaki ba ito? I mean, are we referring to 200 sacks, thousands of sacks, or hundreds of thousands of sacks?
Tingin ko retailer to Walang capability ng 100,000 of
In
sacks.
other words, Mr. Chair, nung kapanahunan na hindi pa ginalaw ang ganitong power ng NFA, marami ang nabibigyan ng hanap buhay. Dalawa po ito, Mr. Chair. Maraming nabibigyan ng hanap buhay na maliliit na negosyante. At the same time, mababa ang presyo para kay Juan at kay Maria. Tanong, Mr. Chair, sino naman kayang genius ang gumawa ng ganitong kalokohan na tinanggalan ng power ang NFA para maghirap yung mga taong bayan and at the same time, natanggalan pa ng hanap buhay yung ating mga maliliit na negosyante sa mga public markets. And this, Mr. Chair, is something that we should not let it pass. Kailangan nating either ibalik yon or tingnan natin, ano ba ito? Pagkakamali ba lang, was it unintentional? Or baka hindi natin alam, napasok na tayo ng kung ano-anong mga bulong, kaya nangyari ito. Because I don't think, Mr. Chair, this can go without accountability. Kasi tingnan nyo, we are now held hostage by this wrong action. Maybe it's not intentional, so we need to correct this. Mabuti na nga lang at meron tayong kintakom at na-uncover yung ganito. No? So babalik ako, Mr. Chair, klarong-klaro. Nung tinanggalan ng power ang NFA, hindi lamang tinanggalan ng hanap buhay ang mga maliliit na negosyante ng bigas. Pinapahirapan pa ngayon si Juan at si Maria na kumuha ng murang bigas at nagkakaroon pa ngayon ng happy life. Yung mga andudon na sila-sila ang nagsasabwatan, and I am referring to the middlemen who are actually profiteering from the situation, taking advantage of the fact na nawalan ng authority ang gobyerno through NFA na gawin ito. But mind you, Mr. Chair, nakakapagtaka, tinanggalan mo yung mga maliliit na negosyante, pero heto, may negotiated transactions ng NFA leading to 78,564 bags
Discretionary eh. Tsaka kung titingnan natin, malamang if we compute that, that's actually it's 7,678,200 kilos. This is not even 1 year eh. Hindi pa to isang taon, no? The 7.678,200 million kilos na negotiated transaction. Ibig sabihin, kung sino ang malapit sa puso ng dating NFA, ay siyang makakabili sa murang presyo na pwede niyang ibenta sa mataas na presyo. This is not even 1 year.
Mr. Chair, actually, kung iba-backtrack nga, if we were reading the newspapers nung mangyari yan, even yung mga prior years, siguro 5 years back, mas malalaki po ang transaction na ganyan. But, of course, hindi po natin pwedeng sabihin kung mali o tama dahil nasa mga kaso na po siya.
Okay. In other words, Mr. Chair, hindi natin parang naging knee-jerk reaction. Now, Mr. Chair, let me go to our resource person from G4. Sir, magandang gabi.
Good evening po, Madam Chair.
You're from Manila or?
Bulacan po.
Bulacan. Okay. Ayon sa record ng NFA, kayo po ay nagkaroon ng negotiated transaction in the total amount of 75,000 bags. So that's 3,750,000 kilos of rice as of April 15 of 2024. Magkano po ang bili nyo per kilo?
First of all po, Madam Chair, 50,000 lang po yung G4, hindi po 75,000.
Yung NBK pala, yung, okay, so stand corrected. So, magkano po ang bili nyo dun sa per kilo of the 50,000 bags?
Nabili po namin yun ng 25 pesos per kilo po.
25. Magkano naman ang benta?
After all po from transportation cost, handling cost, tapos po remailing process, tsaka po yung shortage, binenta po namin ng 37 to 39 per kilo.
So 37 to 39 per kilo. Binibili nyo ito na palay pa?
Ano na po siya? Aging rice po siya.
Aging. Bigas na siya?
Opo.
Bigas na siya?
Opo.
Na meal na siya?
Opo.
Okay. So sa 25 pesos, binibenta nyo ng 37 to 39?
Yes po.
Okay. Pero ang binibentahan nyo, retail yan? Or diretso na sa retail market? Or
Yun din po. Walk-in po dun sa Bulacan.
So wholesalers pa ito?
Mix po yung mga dun eh. Mga bumibili ng bigas. Minsan po may bibili ng 2 sako. Minsan kaya po kanina 500. Kumbaga po kinikater po lahat namin kung sinong gustong bumili, bebentahan po namin.
So if we look at the price, kung binibenta nyo ng 37 to 39, magkano nila binibenta sa merkado?
Ang inano ko po nung panahon na po yun, sabi ko, mahal ang bigas natin ngayon, baka pwedeng itulong din nyo yun sa masa na benta nyong 41, 42.
Pero magkano nila binenta?
Alam ko po, yung iba, nagbenta po ng 42 during that.
Saan po yun, sir, Mr. Chair?
Sa po? Sa lugar, Caloocan.
Pwede nyo po kaming mabigyan kung saan yung bigas na binibenta na 42 pesos per kilo?
Ano na po yun? Na-consume na po yun.
Hindi, pero at least malalaman natin kung saan. Kasi parang hindi namin nakikita or naririnig yung nagbenta ng 42 pesos.
Sige po.
Yeah. Do we have DTI here? The DTI rep? Ma'am, sa Caloocan po ba nitong taon na ito, may nagbenta po ba ng bigas na 42 pesos per kilo?
Madam Chair, we will check our records po kung meron nga sa Caloocan ng 42.
Magkano po ang na-monitor yung retail price ng bigas na bilihin na bentahan sa NCR?
Madam Chair, ang amin pong agreement with the DA is kami po yung sa supermarket.
Ma'am, can you speak closely to the microphone?
Kami po yung supermarket, Madam Chair. So, ito pong October sa NCR, ang prevailing...
No, we're referring to the second quarter. Ang pinag-uusapan po natin dito, ma'am, yung aging rice na binili sa NFA.
Madam Chair, sorry. Ang amin pong naging agreement with the DA is yung after na po nung pagbaba ng taripa. So yung before po...
Prior to that, wala kayong monitoring ng presyo. So kung kunyari last year, wala kayong monitoring ng presyo ng bigas?
Wala po, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, is it that it's an obligation of the Department of Trade and Industry? Trabaho po ba ng DTI? Ang monitoring ng...
Yes, Yusek Asis, I think it's AMAS, di ba? That's monitoring.
Yung AMAS po yung may mandate pagka bigas. Meron po kami mga... Department of Agriculture.
Okay. So, to our good representative from DTI, can we check kung meron talagang 42 pesos na bigas, no, sa Caloocan? Sir, you mentioned yung iba pumayag ng 42. Magkano naman yung maximum?
Madam Chair, clarify ko po. Yung 50,000 po, binayaran po yun noong January 2024. Then, hindi po nakuha yun up to now. Kaya po, nag-request po kami ng refund. So, nung itong 20...
Ito ba yung unang pagkakataon na bumili kayo ng bigas sa NFA? Hindi.
Way back po ng October or November 2023, ayun po, isa po ako nalaman ko po sa industry na nagbebenta ng aging rice ang NFA. Maybe po, sa database ng NFA, hindi lang po G4 ang nakabiling...
Yeah, may we request NFA to give us the database what will be your point of reckoning, Mr. Chair? 2020 onward, 2019 onwards. 2019 onwards. Tinitingnan na rin po namin yun, sir. So, wag po kayong mag-alala. Gusto lang talaga nating maliunawan, no, kung saan yung mga gaps para hindi na ito maulit. So, yung mga naibili nyo sa NFA at naibibenta nyo sa mga wholesaler or middlemen, traders, magkano yung maximum na naririnig yung benta nila? 50 ba? 55?
45 po.
45.
45.
So the average will be 45. So kung titingnan po natin, Mr. Chair, binibili sa gobyerno ng 25 pesos, binibenta kay Juan at kay Maria ng 45 pesos. Clearly, Mr. Chair, a difference of 20 pesos per kilo is very disadvantageous to the government. Kung hindi sana natin tinanggal yung mga maliliit na negosyante na nagbebenta sa public market, sa mga palengke, kung hindi natin tinanggal ang power ng NFA na magbenta dun sa mga maliliit na merkado, sana hindi nangyari to. Ang nangyari kasi dito, parang yung driver may problema, ang ginawa natin, hinulog na lang natin yung bus sa bangin. Ang nangyari, wala na tuloy na susakyan na bus yung mga taga-probinsya. Am I correct in my comparison, DA family, no? So, merong bus, nakakuha ng driver, yung driver medyo pasaway, umiinom paminsan-minsan, nakita nung may-ari, ang ginawa ng may-ari, tinanggalan ng trabaho ang driver ng bus, tapos hinulog yung bus sa bangin. Ang nagsakripisyo yung mga pasahero na wala namang sariling sasakyan. This is even more, much more deeper kasi ito, tinanggalan ng hanap buhay yung mga maliliit na negosyante sa merkado. May we ask the DTI or the DA if they can enlighten us on that? Marami po ba tayong public market vendors na willing magbenta ng NFA rice sa ngayon? Yes.
Yes, may we get a response? Yusek Asis.
Based on, of course, our observation in the past, almost all markets have NFA grains retailer. And so, that will be the short answer. Based on past experience po, lahat po halos ang palengke, meron po nagbebenta ng bigas na NFA rice na subsidized po yon. So, I guess that situation still exists right now if that rice is available.
Mr. Chair, hindi, just to add dun sa tanong ni Congressman Garin, wherever I go, pag pumupunta ako sa mga branches ng NFA nationwide, lagi akong nakikipag-ugnayan, hindi lang sa mga farmers. Pati yung mga retailers, nagpupunta minsan, lahat sila nagaklamor, kailan po kami uli makakapag-bili ng bigas sa NFA at nang makapagbenta po kami. Ito po, walang halong biro. Nakikipagkita sila sa akin, nakikipag-meeting, tinatanong nila ako, pwede na po ba kami bumili? Sabi ko, pasensya na po, matagal na pong wala ang mandato na yan sa NFA. Bakit po nung ganito, ganon? Hindi ko po masagot yan. Pero kung yung tanong nyo po, nandun po yung clamor.
I believe Kong Quaresma is galit na si Kong. Bakit daw tinanggal? So, Mr. Chair, may I yield my few seconds to Kong Quaresma?
Yes, of course. Our Chair,
thank you very
Luisa
much,
Loren Quaresma.
Mr. Chairman and Kong Janet. Totoo naman yun, napakaganda noon. I'm from Nueva Vizcaya. Tuwan-tuwa yung mga tao that time. Dahil, at least kung meron yan, couldn't we go back to that old system? Kasi I think that was 2019 nung na ano yan Bakit? Bakit kaya, di ba? Kaya napakalaking question mark. Bakit inalis yan doon sa NFA? Ang sabi sa akin, dahil may ginagawa rin daw na hindi maganda ang NFA. Dahil kaya tinanggal. Pero ang palagay ko, mas malala ngayon, 'di ba? Kaya I think this should be one of our agenda in the next Quinta committee meeting, Mr. Chairman, para maganda. Sayang sana kanina nandyan si secretary na tanong sana ito. But I know that na yung sa palengke, yung mga retailers natin, bumibili sila sa NFA. At ang kagandahan nito is pag nandyan ang NFA, may stabilize natin yung presyo. Makokontrol natin yung presyo. Yun lang, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Honorable Chair Luisa Loren Quaresma. Kong Janet?
So, Mr. Chair, earlier, there was a law signed last Monday. Yeah. And that law does not bring back the power of NFA. I mean, alam ko gusto ng presidente yon, pero hindi na ipasok. Can we get your confirmation on that? Because maybe it's time for us to approach Senate and tell them the implications of what is happening. Lalo't lalo na kapag hindi ka bumababa dun sa baba at hindi mo maramdaman yung mga hinaing ng tao na napakamahal ng bigas. So itong bagong batas, alam ko andun yung direktiba ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos na ibalik ang poder ng NFA na makialam sa presyo. Napakasimple lang yan Naalala nyo ng COVID, kanya-kanyang gimmick, ang mahal-mahal ng lahat. Pero pag may pumapasok, nagmumurang bigla ang testing. Remember, testing was like gold. Napakamahal niya. Nag-set pa ng napakamahal na presyo ang PhilHealth. Tapos lahat ng testing nasa private na laboratory. But when the private sector tapped the government hospitals and provided testing for 1,500 pesos, bagsakan ang presyo ng lahat. Ganyan ang parehong nangyayari. Did DA inform the Senate about what is happening?
Yes, Yusek. Okay. Si Admin Larry.
Kami naman po sa NFA hindi nagkulang even sa last minute comment namin sa Malacanang bago ho pirmahan, pinarating po namin yung aming posisyon.
Mr. Chair, sa PCC, did you see this? Nakita niyo pa itong problemang ito na natanggalan ng poder ang NFA?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Naparating po ba natin ito, Mr. Chair, sa Senado?
nagbigay po kami ng position paper at the time din po, Mr. Chair.
Hindi rin pinansin. Malamang,
Maybe,
no? Kasi
maybe,
Mr. Chair, hindi naramdaman or hindi nakita itong problemang ito. But now that we have the Quintacom, at naririnig na natin yung boses ng ating mga kababayan, and we appeal to our colleagues in the Senate to really address this with a heart. Kasi yun ang problema eh. Nakakuha ka ng maling driver, ihuhulog mo ba yung bus sa bangin? Eh di wala nang sasakyan yung mga tao. So it's a knee-jerk reaction, but the impact is so huge. It's resulting to malnutrition and more undernourished and stunted Filipinos. So if I may go back, Mr. Chair, ano ba ang pwede nating gawin? Eh dahil ando dun yun, of course, we will be proceeding with the law. Ano ang pwede nating gawin sa pananaw ng DA? Will it be possible that NFA, you will have extended kadiwa centers? Parang yung mga retailers dati sa public market, ano sila? Galamay or fingers of your kadiwa centers. Parang you can have registered kadiwa centers selling NFA rice. Is that possible?
That is the objective of this administration, to extend the number of Kadiwa centers to cover all
Kunin ko, bawiin ko lang, Mr. Chair, ha. Pag Kadiwa Center kasi, maganda yun. It's really good. But sa laki ng Pilipinas, sa dami natin ng isla, we cannot do that in the most proximate time. And partnering with our former NFA rice retailers is actually bringing back a good program that should have never been abolished in the first place. And with the indulgence of our colleagues here, gawin natin ang lahat na makiusap sa mga senador para matulungan nila tayo sa problemang ito. But my question is, with the current setup, pwede bang extended Kadiwa Rice Center? Parang ibabalik natin yon. It's actually, well, okay, hindi pwedeng magbenta yung NFA, pero yung NFA pwedeng magbenta sa Kadiwa. Tama? Aging rice.
Kung aging po.
Aging rice, pwede.
Part po ng buffers, part po ng stock management nila.
And how many buffer stock you have? May you have around 5 million or 5.5 million?
Close to 5.5 million bags po.
Bags at 50 kilos.
At 50 kilos, opo. Yeah. And we can yung binebenta po natin sa Kadiwa ay yung non-regular or yung 3 months and above. Kanya nakakapagbigay po tayo ng P29. But
this is good, well-milled rice, ha?
Well-milled po, opo.
So Mr. Chair, look at this. NFA has a buffer of 275 million kilos of well-milled rice. Ngayon, if you will consider that ang aging naman natin is 2 to 3 months, malamang yung iba dyan, medyo nasa mga 2 buwan na, magti 3 months na, then why don't you sell it through Kadiwa? This is not a permanent solution, but it's a stepping stone while we are awaiting for the awakening of those who are stubborn in not bringing back the powers of NFA. It's a stepping stone para itawid muna natin ngayon ang presyo ng bigas. NFA can give that to Kadiwa, sell it, and Kadiwa will have NFA, accredited NFA retailers in the public markets. With that, yung magkano ba ang benta ng NFA sa Kadiwa?
Sa ngayon po, yung sa aging natin,
per kilo,
29. Pero po yung regular stocks natin, na kamukha po ng binebenta sa DSWD, 38 pesos lamang po yun. Then po, gusto
pero
ko lang,
yung aging, 29.
29 po.
Okay, magkano ba binibenta ng Kadiwa yon?
29 din po.
29 din. Pass on lang siya talaga. So yung retailer, can say, how much do you recommend sa retailer, NFA retailers? Kagaya dati, magkano yung kanilang profit?
Hindi ko po alam kung magkano yung profit nila.
Maybe somebody is knowledgeable here. Is it 10 or 20%? Even if it's, let's say, a little over 10%, so mag-profit pa sila ng 3 pesos, yung 29 pesos, yes.
Sorry pa. I get the information from one of my managers. Kapag binenta po namin noon sa mga retailers at 25, they are mandated to just sell at 27 pesos. 2 piso lamang po yung minamandate namin
this,
na
Mr.
tubo
Chair,
nila per kilo.
Okay. The 5.5 million buffer stock of NFA, na ngayon nga, problema nila kung saan ilalagay yon kasi nga, tinanggalan sila ng power. No? Parang, ewan ko, baka merong nagalit kay Admin Lacson at medyo, hindi pala.
Siguro po yung sa dati.
Okay. Mahirap kasi pag merong mga konti-konting away na apektado lahat. So ito ang nangyari. We have 275,000 kilos of rice before NFA. But since it's aging rice, pwede siyang ibenta sa Kadiwa. Kadiwa can now have accredited NFA retailers in the public markets mandated to sell the rice at 32 pesos per kilo. That's good enough. Pwede yun, di ba? So with that, Mr. Chair, I move that the Department of Agriculture be immediately directed to come up with a mechanism to accredit small NFA rice retailers in various public markets throughout the Philippines to be able to dispose of the 275 million kilos of well-milled rice with a timeline to get back to us 2 weeks.
Yes. It's a study, Honorable Janet Garin.
No, Mr. Chair.
No.
It's, pasensya na, I believe in studies, but at this point of time, I don't think our people can wait. So, ang proposal ko is to convene a small task force that can implement this program and probably implement this. Kailan ba yung harvest season?
March try.
Late February meron na. So kung gagawin, kaya nyo bang last week of, kasi lalabas yung mga bonus, maraming kakain, Pasko. Kaya nyo bang i-implement ito? Sabihin na natin, ang launching is December 25.
Kaya nyo yun.
Yes.
Are you done, Mr. Chair?
Yes, Honorable
Are you done
Chair.
with the motion?
Yes. Wala
Okay,
lang
so
na-
I second the motion.
Ayun.
Okay. There is a motion.
To reiterate, my motion is to direct the Department of Agriculture in 2 weeks' time to come up with an agreement between the NFA, who will be disposing of the 275 million kilos of rice through the Kadiwa, and the Kadiwa accrediting NFA retailers in public markets throughout the Philippines. Not one time. They can do it over a period of 3 months.
Yes, with the indulgence of the Honorable Janet Garin, before we rule on the motion, is that possible given the new law? Do you have a... Okay siya? NFA retailers, are they in...
Even the old law, even with the fact that Senate took away the power of NFA, nakalagay kasi doon, Mr. Chair, NFA can sell to Kadiwa kapag aging rice. Ang aging naman natin is 2 to 3 months. Now, it does not prevent Kadiwa from accrediting NFA retailers in the public markets.
Yes, but kasi with the new law, the Senate limited the markets of NFA. So, BJMP is no longer with you?
Teka lang, Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
The new law limited the market
Yes,
of
the
NFA.
markets that NFA can sell to.
Can sell to. But NFA can sell to Kadiwa, right?
Comsec,
And
can I
this
have
is
a copy?
Kadiwa selling to the retailers. It's not NFA anymore.
So, yes, anyway, I would, may we just hear Admin Larry kung pwede ba yun?
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Saan yung market?
Even dun sa prior RTL, yung na-amend, and even dito sa amendment, pwede po kaming magbenta ng aging stocks as part of the management ng buffer stock. And through Kadiwa, and kung private man yan, it should be in-auction. Yun lang po yung
But the fastest way to do it is through Kadiwa. You don't bid, right? Yeah.
Only up to Kadiwa ang ang
Yes, they're going to sell to Kadiwa at 29 pesos per kilo. Kadiwa will now accredit NFA retailers, rice retailers in the public markets with an agreement that the retailers will sell it only at maximum of 32 pesos.
Yes.
3 pesos profit.
Sige. Admin Larry?
Last po. Yes, ang engagement namin pwede from NFA to Kadiwa na right now it's being handled by FTI. Pero yung FTI, going to the retailers, wala na po kami doon.
So, Asek Bebang is here, Mr. Chair. Asek Bebang, birthday ko ngayon. So, can you give that as a gift to the Filipino people? Kadiwa accrediting NFA rice retailers in every public market in the country.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Happy birthday po, Ma'am Kong Janet. In as much as we've been discussing since yesterday, Ma'am, yung one of the challenges nga po that we can actually sell nga po from NFA to the Kadiwa centers. Ang pinaka-challenge lang po natin ngayon talaga, ginagawa naman na po talaga natin yan. Kaya lang parang napansin nyo po, talagang medyo mabagal po yung ating rollout. Dahil nga po ang pinaka-problema natin ngayon, yung logistics. Wala po tayong from the warehouse to the stores. Yun po yung medyo nahihirapan tayo kasi wala po talaga tong complement. Hindi po tayo...
Magkano kayo ng estimate? So we can increase even if they sell it at let's say 34 pesos per kilo. Yung 1 peso na logistic per kilo, sobra-sobra na yun, di ba? Kasi cents lang yan
Yes, ma'am. Pwede naman natin ngang gawin. Kaya lang po siguro we would like to request sana kung we can create a task force with the committee so we can really lay out yung how we can be able to with this committee's support, of course, how we can be able to roll this out with the way na lahat po ng agencies that can help us roll it out, makatulong po. Para lang po kasi po in a 2 weeks time and nearing ng holidays, medyo mahirap na po kaming makapag-commit ng tao, ma'am. Kasi yun nga, kailangan namin ng tao.
Pwede naman tayong like mag-dry run lang ng isa. Parang it can be like launching of one area or hindi, ang ano lang naman kasi dito, the guidelines And I think what will take time here is the accreditation of NFA rice retailer. Ano ba yun? Pag utang ba sila or binibigay na babayad sila ng cash?
Ma'am, yung sa NFA, hindi ko po alam kung may registry pa rin sila ngayon ng mga retailers as before. Kasi nga, opo, so kailangan i-establish ulit natin yun. Tapos may legal impediment po ba kung ganun yung ating course of action because nga wala na nga po silang authority to directly sell sa market.
So maybe, Mr. Chair, January can be a good timeline before the harvest. Kasi doon medyo mahal ang bigas niyan kasi walang local harvest. And you know, if it will be in the market at 33 pesos, the impact of 275 million kilos will be really good. That will force our retailers to also bring down their rice. Maraming nakastock ngayon, Mr. Chair, sa retailers, so ibabagsak nila yung presyo. Yung mga middleman yan, magsasakripisyo. So,
anyway, so with that, we will, sige, Admin Larry.
Just for quick clarification, siguro para factual lahat. Yun pong stocks ni NFA, total of 275 million kilos, or yun nga 5.5 million bags, hindi po lahat yan ay aging stocks. Meron lamang po dyan mag-age na pwede nating ibenta at 29 pesos. And hindi rin po natin bebenta lahat yan kasi we will maintain our buffer stock at a safe level. So, pagdating po ng anihan, ang diskarte po na ako na mismo ang gumawa, kung ano ang ilalabas sa merkado, yun ang ipapasok na palay. Palit po ng palit, magiging cycle. Meron na po tayong table dyan kung ano po yung volume na kailangan lang nating ilabas on a monthly basis. And corresponding
More
budget.
or less, that will be how many?
Ang buffer stock po kasi natin mandated is 300,000 metric tons. So we divided by 12 months. Dapat po every month makakapaglabas tayo ng 25,000 metric tons. 25 metric tons
Para mas
every month.
maintindihan ni Juan, ilang kilos yun?
25 million kilos po.
Yes. So with 25 million kilos per month na ilalabas natin at 33 pesos per kilo, that can move the market. Diba? At maganda yan, unahin natin sa mga lugar kung saan marami ang mahihirap. Huwag sa Forbes, yung sinasabi ni Kong Joey. So we can actually identify saan ba dito yung marami ang mahihirap. So yung dun sa maraming mahihirap, for sure may public market yan. Yung iba naman may association na accredited naman ng LGUs. So the association can actually be the rice retailer. We will help. May mga maro, alam nila yon. So 25 million kilos per month, Mr. Chair, is a big volume that can move the market. At kusang magbababaan yung iba dyan. Notwithstanding the fact that we will still pursue identifying the faces of these middlemen who are actually profiteering from the situation.
Yes, with that lang, baka pwedeng rolling kadiwa, di ba? Ito, di ba?
Mr. Chair, meron po tayong mga rolling kadiwa. Hindi nga lang po ganun katulad nung sa Rice for All natin and yung P29 nating centers na Thursday to Saturdays ang schedule ngayon. Yung iba po, merong weekly, meron yung 15:30. So, hindi po yun, kumbaga, daily, no?
Sige, okay.
So,
anyway, Asek, I just want to ensure, dun lang sa probability nun, we have to follow Section 11, on the maintenance and disposal of rice buffer stock, nandito sa NFA. So again, as mentioned already by Admin Larry earlier, na disposal through sale shall be through public auction. So which means subsidized price kasi ang 29, remember?
But does that apply, Mr. Chair, to Kadiwa? Kasi government to government yan.
Pag Kadiwa, hindi. So,
Yeah.
Basta nasa Kadiwa siya.
But Kadiwa, when you sell to... Kasi Kadiwa sells at cost. Actually, it's skirting. Oo. Well, I don't find any... I mean, on the outset, I don't find any legal impediment kasi ang pinagbawalan si NFA. Pero si Kadiwa, hindi siya pinagbawalan na magkaroon ng retailers. But just for rice. Kasi ang hirap ng management kung iba-iba kung marami. Just for rice. Parang one commodity, we start it one at a time. Yeah. So just to reiterate my motion, which was for the record already seconded, my motion is to direct the Department of Agriculture to immediately convene a task force that will work with NFA in disposing of the approximately 25 million kilos of aging rice per month that will be sold through Kadiwa, and the Kadiwa identifying accredited NFA rice retailers in the public markets of the poorest provinces or cities with high poverty rate, so as to affect the price of rice. And to add, Mr. Chair, since it's Christmas time and it's my birthday, maybe we can change the 2 weeks to 15 days. Siguro, Mr. Chair, 1 month. 1 month to be... Yeah.
Okay. So, maybe just rule on the motion. So, it has been duly seconded. Any objections? There being none, motion is approved. the Department of Agriculture is hereby requested to comply with the request of the Honorable Janet Garcia.
Lastly, Mr. Chair, yesterday, Mr. Dr. Lero and Mr. Angeles appeared for Vitram Marketing, and they were actually reminded that along with the other importers, they appear today and submit several documents as required. However, as reported by the Secretariat, they were not present today. May I therefore move that we issue a show cause order for their failure to attend today's hearing despite due notice. So move, Mr. Chair.
Second, Mr. Chairman.
Any objections? There being none, motion is approved. COMSEC. The COMSEC is hereby directed to draft the said show cause order to the said personalities. Thank you. Okay, just briefly, we are so far scheduled for Tuesday, tentatively. So we will resume our hearings next Tuesday. Sir, I hope you could make it.
Mr. Chair, just to clarify, it was clarified earlier, my suggestion or my recommendation to invite the previous NFA officials.
Yes, I'm sure
in the next hearing,
yes,
maybe next
COMSEC,
week.
I'm sure Admin Larry would be very much helpful to.
Yes.
Tino po sa kanila kasi medyo marami po yun.
Maybe we can just invite the head.
Former Administrator Bioco?
Former two prior heads?
Two prior heads.
Yes, and
Or maybe we can invite the three prior heads, Mr. Chair, so we can compare. We need to document the situation na naging maganda naman dati, nakakalaro sila sa presyo, nakakapababa, and what happened, so that we can also hear from them. Maybe itong mga nangyayaring negotiated transactions was because they also cannot dispose of the rice. Mas takot silang masira. I mean, alam mo yon, you have like millions of tons. Let's say you have 100 million rice. Maybe Admin Lacson is raising his hand, Mr. Chair.
Tama po. Just to add, bago ang ano. Actually, nung inanalyze ko, it could be one of the reasons talaga. GOCC po si NFA, we're not getting any salaries or PS and MOE from DAGA. Nakakapagpasweldo lamang po kami kung nakakapagbenta kami ng bigas. Kanya po, I theorize that probably one of the reasons that led them to sell the stocks is
so look at the situation, Mr. Chair. Tinanggalan sila ng power to sell sa retail market. Nawalan ng hanap buhay yung mga maliliit na negosyante. Nagmahal ang bigas. Pumasok ang collusion, maybe among the middlemen. Yung NFA naman ngayon, dahil kailangan niyang magkaroon ng buffer stock, may bigas na hindi naman niya pwedeng ibenta. Kailangan pa magkaroon ng kalamidad. Pero kung masira naman yan, accountable siya. So anong gagawin niya? Diba? Damn if you do, damn if you don't. So ngayon, ibebenta mo na lang ng palugi. Kasi, patago mo rin ibebenta kasi hindi ka nga pwedeng magbenta. Hindi naman nila in-auction. Siyempre, yung mga negosyante naman will take advantage. Because we heard from Mr. G4, narinig nila, may nagbebenta. Kung may ganon, talagang you will take advantage. So this is a problem that was created simply because there were people who did not understand the implication of removing the powers of NFA and until now persist and insist not to bring it back. Siyempre, kunyari, mag-iwan ka ng 1 million piso dyan sa daan, lahat ba ng dadaan, titingnan lang yan, kukunin yan, maski hindi sa kanila. And ganito rin yung nangyari. Hindi mo pwedeng ibenta sa merkado, pero masisira di ibenta mo dun sa mga negosyanteng malalaki, pero ang endpoint, dumating rin naman sa merkado, mas mahal lang. Yung dating 2 pesos ay naging 20 pesos. That's the price difference. So we need to document that, Mr. Chair, and appeal to everybody who can help bring down what it was before and improved on the people managing it. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yes, thank you very much, Honorable Janet Garin. So, patulong na lang po kay COMSEC. I think that would be Admin Judy Dansal and Rod Bioco. Diba? Sige, thank you. So, with that, again, reminder, tentatively, we are scheduled for Tuesday, but we will try our best to inform you way in advance para alam ko po may mga nanggagaling pa ng mga probinsya na kailangan lumipad po dito. So we will inform you as soon as we can. So hopefully kung by Friday wala, inform na namin kayo para naman we respect naman na meron kayong mga importante ring ginagawa. But thank you. Thank you again for the time. Please keep that in mind. Yung tentatively so far we are set for Tuesday. We will inform you way in advance. So, COMSEC, paano na lang, any other COMSEC dun sa reminders natin? Okay na, sige. Thank you very much. Kong Reynan, Arrogancia.
Mr. Chairman, I move to suspend today's hearing.
Hearing is hereby suspended.
Okay, so mga kaibigan, sa oras na alas 9:20 po ng gabi Philippine Standard Time, ay napanood natin yung ginawang press briefing at hearing dyan po sa correction po, House of Representatives, At kanina, sinasabi yung tungkol nga po doon sa impeachment. Alam nyo, mahabang proseso po ang impeachment, bago tuluyang maisagawa at maisakatuparan. Hindi po basta ganon. So maraming dapat pagbasihan, maraming dapat na tignang mga anggulo kung dapat ba i-impeach ang isang nakaupo sa pwesto. So yun mga kaibigan, at bukod dyan, katulad niya, kita nyo, ang sektang Iglesia ni Cristo ay makikiisa, gagawa ng isang pagtitipo na no to impeachment, so yon. At siyempre alam nyo ang stand po ng INC ay para sa kapayapaan ng lahat, hindi po sa kung ano pa mang kaguluhan. At bukod dyan mga kaibigan, yun pong tinalakay din tungkol po sa ating bigas na kinakain ng araw-araw ng ating mga kababayan ay yun nga, actually may nakita na po akong presyo ng bigas, na kung di ako nagkakamali 43 pesos kada kilo sa mga palengke, talagang meron akong mga murang bigas, di ko katulad dati, pinakamababa yata kung di ako nagkakamali 55 o 50, pero ngayon may 43 pesos na, meron ng 47, may 46, mamimili ka na kung anong klaseng bigas ang sana mas mababa pa, mas maganda, sabi nga ika nga katulad nung mangyayari pa yung sinabi ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos yung 20 pesos na bigas kada kilo. Tanong, yung kayang 20 pesos ay makakain ng ating mga kababayan, makakain ba kaya na sambayan ng Pilipino, Kasi sa totoo lang, panahon po ni Apo Lakay, yung pong kanyang ama, nung presidente, mura ho talaga bilihin. Sa bagay, iba ho noon, iba ngayon, pero nagawa na maging mura ang bilihin noon dahil nga nagkaroon nga po ng kadiwa centers sa lahat po ng lugar sa atin sa bansa. At bukod doon, ay nagkaroon din ng yung masaganang 99 para doon sa mga bigas, palay na inaani po ng ating mga kababayan, ng ating mga bayaning magsasaka, Well, sana nga mangyari ulit ngayon para naman, alam nyo, sabihin natin talagang mahirap na hong buhay ngayon, para naman makayanan ng ating mga kababayan, lalo na yung mga poorest of the poor, talagang dapat magkaroon po ng ganun. Okay, sa mga kaibigan, nanonood natin sina Ford Tom, no, si Kuya Anthony Bautista, at gayon din ng ating admin Corixman ng One Gun Pilipinas. Good evening sa iyo, admin. At lumakad na naman kayo ni Asher Maghinang, namasyal kayo. Hindi na naman kayo nagsama. Di bale, okay lang. At gayon din si Renato Arieta ng Barangay Concepcion. Tama ba? Baritan, mga Concepcion ba nakakasakop sa inyo dyan sa Malabon City? Yeah, magandang gabi. At siyempre si Ma'am Elvira Sibilla ng Solo Parents, no? Group, no, ng Malabon. Ayun. At muli po, at tayo po ipasamantala magpapaalam muna at muli tayo magbabalik bukas para sa ating Saturday edition o Saturday, no, para naman sa ating Dalaw Barangay bukas, no. At siyempre po, siguro bahala na kung may maroon tayong makakausap ng mga barangay chairman o kagawad, no, para makausap natin at makapanayam dito po sa ating programa bukas na Dalaw Barangay. Muli, ako po yung naging kasama, naging kakosa, kajamming, katropa, kakuya, kaate, kabunso, Press of Eagles, at naging kagunners dito po sa programang Tropa, siyempre dito lang sa Millennial Online TV, News and Updates. Ako po yung lingkod, Rosel Lopez, ang nagsasabing magandang gabi Pilipinas at mapayapang magdamag. Mabalos.
Barangay, pangunahing unit ng pamahalaan lokal kung saan dito pinag-uusapan ang bawat sinalo ng mga residente ng bawat barangay. Dito rin pinag-uusapan ng mga piling halal na opisyal na barangay ang mga proyekto para sa kanilang barangay. Kumustahin natin ang panunungkulan ni Kapitan dito sa Dalaw Barangay sa Millennial Online TV Worldwide, ang katropa ng bawat barangay.
Ating tinatapos ang ating pagpupulong. Maraming salamat po sa inyong pagdalo at tapos na po ang ating session. Enjoy na po tayo.
Now, we are
talakayin. The biggest destruction of dangerous drugs worth 1.
Rebisahin, opinyon, malawakin, aksyonan. Kasama si Rosel Lopez, ang inyong katropa sa pagbabalita. Dito lang sa Millennial Online TV. Tutok na, mga katropa!
Responsable ka ng gun owner? At mahaba ba ang iyong pasensya? At hindi ba initin ang iyong ulo? Alam mo rin ba ang batas hinggil sa pag-iingat ng baril o firearms? Kung hindi,
a responsible gun owner?
Are you 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 a responsible gun owner? The PNP Civil Security Group would like to advise all firearms holders to renew their license to own and possess firearms and firearms registration within 6 months before its expiry date. Tumawag na at makipag-ugnayan. Be a responsible gun owner.
One Gun Pilipinas ang sagot, mga katropa at kaganos. Tayo ituturo sa inyo ng One Gun Pilipinas o OGP ang lahat ng legal na paraan at proseso upang ikaw ay maging isang responsableng gun owners. Ano pa hinihintay nyo, mga kagunners? Sali na sa One Gun Pilipinas ngayon na. Nagbabasa ka pa ba ng dyaryo? O nakikinig ka pa ba ng radyo? Kung ngayon, lahat yan ay mapapakinggan nyo na sa inyong mga cellphone. Dahil online na tayo, mga kamilenyo. Kaya manood, makinig dito sa Millennial Online TV.
Rider, sumalpok sa
Kaya
poste ng
i-follow, like, subscribe, at i-share na, mga katropa.
Hanap mo ba ay Unwind Ventures? Tara nang mamangha sa mga tanawin. Ano man ang iyong travel goals? Dadalhin namin kayo. Sa Unwind Ventures at saya. Dito lang sa Wow Biyahe. Kaya wow, di ba?
Abangan dito lang sa Millennial Online TV.
Shoutout dyan sa kaibigan natin si Sir Rosel Lopez. Sir Rosel, kumusta ka dyan? Guys, like and follow si Sir Rosel. Siya ho ang ating admin at saka owner-operator ng ating napakagandang online news TV, Millennial Online TV News and Updates. Ito ay nagpo-promote guys ng mga positivity sa buhay, mga updates natin sa mga local news at saka syempre mga promotion tungkol how to live a life better. Okay? Guys, like and follow si Sir Rosel. Sir Rosel, ingat palagi. Bye-bye!
Hi, this is Opangilari Gadon. Nananawagan ako sa ating mga katropa, no? At mga kaibigan, mga kababayan na palaging tumutok sa Millennial Online TV. At yan ay pinangunahan at yan ay pinangangasiwaan ng aking kaibigan na si Rosel. At ang mga nanunood dyan ay hindi bobo!
Binaigting, binalakas ang bagong news online TV ng bagong milenyo. Millennial Online TV, ang katropa mo sa pagbabalita.